Author Kyle Spencer has reported extensively on the growth of America's young conservative movement and Charlie Kirk's importance to it. She also wrote the book, Raising Them Right, documenting the rise of young Americans in the political process. She joins me now for more. Kyle, good to see you. You say Charlie Kirk wanted to absolutely transform American culture and bring it back to an earlier time that he saw as more ideal. What do you mean by that?
I think that what we've seen in the United States over the last 20 years is really like shifting demographics, shifting power structures. We've seen the ascent of women, we've seen the ascent of people of color, and we've seen a lot of efforts to try to create more equity. And I think for a lot of the folks who followed Charlie Kirk, that was alarming and disturbing, and they felt that there was a real displacement of their own power and their own authority.
So, why were his visits to college campuses so important to him and his movement?
I think that on college campuses, there were a lot of young people who felt that they could not relate to some of the more progressive their peers. And one of the things that Charlie Kirk was brilliant at was talking to people who felt alienated politically, people who had more conservative ideas about how this country should be run. And he reached out, many of them felt alienated. Charlie Kirk had felt alienated as a high school student in a mostly liberal school. He was conservative even then. And he offered them a kind of a solace. He offered them companionship. He offered them Turning Point USA groups to join. So I think that was really, for many of them, very, very exciting and exhilarating.
Do you think his death will inspire more high school and college age students to join his movement, even get out and vote?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think the thing that we're looking at right now is how to address the fact that a lot of Charlie Kirk's views around things like gun ownership were really, really problematic, and are the kinds of glorification of guns are really what's contributing to this streak of violence in our country. So I'm going to watch out very carefully what Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk's supporters do about the idea that folks who love guns and are violent tend to use them. And so, where are we going to go here with that particular very charged issue? And I hope that Turning Point USA, in the honor of their beloved leader, somebody who was just absolutely wonderful and generous to the people who supported him. I hope that together that very strong group will think about ways to help keep the country safer in honor of Charlie.
Interesting. The point you just made about his views, about Kirk's views. You write about this in your book, how he evolved. He became more of a cultural warrior. He became increasingly religious. How did that impact those specific views you just mentioned?
I think that Charlie, over the years, really, really took more and more conservative views about traditional families, about reproductive rights. When I spoke to him early on, he had feelings about reproductive rights. He believed that abortion was wrong, but he was a little bit more open to the idea that other people might have other views. As he grew and developed closer and closer relationships with the Christian nationalist movement, he became more rigid about those ideas. I don't think that meant that he didn't really believe them. I think Charlie was always very, very authentically who he was and believed what he said. But I think that as he became more and more of a important representative of the hard right, his views became more intense.
What do you think the impact will be on our youth now, on these college campuses, on high schoolers? You know, they were really, I guess, buying into his movement and his views, but now he's been murdered in cold blood. What kind of impact do you think that's going to have on how our youth looks at politics, looks at the Republican Party?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really, the whole thing is so sad. It's so, so, so tragic. And I think that there are a lot of young people who are scared. I think that this is the type of thing that is really horrifying. For those of us who are parents, who have young people, the idea of sending your kid to school every day, sending your kid to a college campus, being a kid on a college campus, it's an everyday reality for young people on college campuses that their lives may be in danger. So I think that there's going to be a lot of sadness, and I think there's going to be a lot of rethinking thinking about what we do now.
Yeah, and political violence. And it's a time for everyone to stand up against that for sure. That could be a whole different type of movement that could be spurred from this. Really appreciate your writing and your time, Kyle. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
You bet.